Fasting is one of the greatest acts of worship in Islam. It is more than just staying away from food and drink. It is a spiritual journey that trains the heart, the soul, and the body to obey Allah. The month of Ramadan is the most special time of the year for fasting. Allah says in the Qur'an, "O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, that you may attain taqwa, God consciousness." From this verse, we see the purpose of fasting. It is not hunger. It is not thirst. It is taqwa, awareness of Allah, remembering Him in every moment and living with self-control. When a Muslim fasts, he leaves what is normally allowed, eating, drinking, and marital relations, for the sake of Allah. This trains him to also stay away from what is forbidden, lies, anger, gossip, and sins. The Prophet Muhammad said that Allah does not need someone to leave food and drink if they do not also leave false speech and bad actions. This shows us that fasting is about the tongue, the eyes, the ears, and the heart, not just the stomach. Every day of fasting is a shield. It protects the believer from sin. It reminds him of the poor who struggle with hunger daily. It builds patience and compassion. When we feel hunger, we remember those less fortunate, and our hearts soften toward them. The reward for fasting is so great that only Allah Himself knows it. In a hadith Qudsi, Allah says, "Fasting is for me, and I will reward it." This means the reward is beyond our imagination. Fasting is unique. Other acts of worship like prayer, charity, or pilgrimage can sometimes be seen by others, but fasting is hidden. A person may be sitting with others, and no one knows he is fasting except Allah. This makes fasting a secret act of sincerity. Ramadan, the month of fasting, is also the month of the Qur'an. Believers gather in mosques for night prayers, reciting long passages of the Qur'an. The nights are filled with worship, with dua, and with forgiveness. When the believer feels weak during the day, he remembers that every moment of hunger is recorded as worship. Every second of thirst is a step closer to Allah. Even sleep while fasting is counted as worship. Fasting teaches discipline. A Muslim may wake before dawn, eat a small meal, and then spend the entire day without food or water, sometimes for 14 or more hours. But through patience, he learns that he can control his desires. He learns that he is not a slave to the stomach, but a servant of Allah. The iftar meal, when the fast is broken at sunset, is one of the happiest times for the believer. Not because of the food itself, but because he obeyed Allah all day. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The fasting person has two joys, one when he breaks his fast, and one when he meets his Lord." The act of fasting also cleanses the body. Modern science shows that fasting helps the body rest, heals digestion, and improves health. But beyond physical benefits, the spiritual benefit is much greater. When Ramadan ends, Muslims celebrate Eid al-Fitr. Families gather, food is shared, and charity is given. It is a celebration of faith, gratitude, and unity. But fasting is not only in Ramadan. There are voluntary fasts throughout the year. Fasting on Mondays and Thursdays, fasting 3 days each month, fasting on the day of Arafah, and fasting on Ashura. Each of these brings forgiveness, blessings, and closeness to Allah. Fasting also connects us with the history of believers before us. The verse in the Qur'an reminds us that fasting was prescribed for previous nations as well. This shows that self-discipline and worship through fasting is a path shared by all sincere servants of God. The importance of fasting can also be seen on the Day of Judgment. On that day, when everyone seeks protection, fasting will intercede for the believer. It will say, "O Lord, I prevented him from food and desires during the day, so accept my intercession for him." This is why fasting is called a shield. It protects in this life, and it will protect on the Day of Judgment. Fasting also builds unity in the Muslim ummah. When Ramadan begins, billions of Muslims around the world fast together. Rich and poor, young and old, men and women, all share the same hunger, the same thirst, and the same devotion. The nights of Ramadan are also filled with worship. Muslims stand together in Taraweeh prayers, reciting the Qur'an. Tears flow as verses of mercy and forgiveness are heard. Du'as rise to the heavens, and hearts are filled with hope. The last 10 nights of Ramadan are especially blessed. One of them is Laylat al-Qadr, the night of decree, which is better than 1,000 months. Worship in that single night is greater than worship for more than 80 years. Fasting leads the believer to this night, to seek forgiveness and mercy from Allah. In the end, fasting is not a hardship. It is a gift. It is a training program for the soul. It is a way to detach from the world and attach to Allah. It teaches patience, gratitude, self-control, and compassion. It connects the believer with the Qur'an, with the poor, with the ummah, and with his Lord. May Allah make us people of fasting, people of taqwa, and people who draw closer to Him in every moment of our lives.